So COVID has impacted businesses all over, and it's impacted them in different ways. You've got the type of business where, it really helps to have people in your restaurant or in your bar that are here. But what I want to kind of focus on is what's something that you've taken out of COVID, adjustments that you guys have made, something you've done differently in your business that maybe you were forced to do it, but going forward, it's something that you're going to take forward and your business will be better because of it.
Okay. Well, this is going to start out sounding like a negative thing, but it's going to turn around.
Okay. All right.
So, you could kind of tell for a month that things were kind of looking bad. They were looking bad. We just pretty much went whistling past the graveyard, like, nah, it's gonna turn around. It's gonna be fine. And then the day finally came where the directed health measures were don't serve food, don't serve drinks in your business. And our tap room or our pub here in Kearney is about 80% of our revenue. And then the other 20, somewhere in there, and the rest of the revenue from the brewery comes from selling beer to other places that are doing this.
Right.
So we lost both kind of like that day. Keg beer sales dropped to pretty much zero and stayed that way for a couple of months back later on. But so we did the same thing everybody else had to do. Sit down at the kitchen table, figure out what we can go forward with, what we're going to have to do to change. At the time, we were getting ready to buy a building in Axtell, where the brewery is.
Okay.
So we had saved up the down payment for it, and we decided we can't buy that.
Right.
We're going to need this money going forward. We've got certain employees that they're not going to be easy to replace, so we're just going to pay them whether we can find work for them to do or not.
Right.
And of course, we'll pay ourselves so we can make our house payments and whatnot.
Right.
And make the bank payments, and we'll just see how long that lasts. It looked like we could probably hold out for a year or so and see what happened. So that's what we decided to do. We came in the brewery the next day. We only had hours for like maybe 25% of our kitchen guys were still doing carry out and drive up, and took some of the brewery people and had them start doing delivery. So we did a little bit of research and we found out that a year before, a law had been passed in Nebraska allowing delivery of beer, and we didn't even know about it.
Really?
Like, well, we're going to start delivering beer and pizza then. So me and my son and our main brewer now started delivering pizzas. And then also about the same day, the governor did a measure where you could have a mixed drink to go out of the building.
Right.
It could had to be in a sealed container. It didn't have to be labeled, and it could be a mixed drink. Like we've been selling beer to go forever.
Mm-hmm.
But we'd also been selling a mixed drink called Thunder Punch that we mix up and put in kegs for about 20 years. And for 20 years, people have been asking us to buy it to go. We can never sell it to go.
Right.
It's a mixed drink.
Right.
Well, that day we could sell it to go. So I shot my lawyer an email saying, this is the thing. I posted attached the thing from the governor and said, I'm reading this as I can sell Thunder Punch to go now. We're going to start doing it tomorrow. I'm not asking if you interpret it the same way. I just want you to be in the loop as we're going to do it. He's like, all right, yeah, looks good. So we did a post on Facebook, and man, it went crazy.
Yeah.
We got, I don't know, 100 shares. We had 50,000 views. It's like the wildly most popular thing we've ever posted.
Yep.
And the next day, we had a line out the door. We couldn't keep up. We rehired all the kitchen people that we had laid off the day before.
Right.
Got them to come back to work, and then a lot of the servers, any server or anybody who wanted to work, as many hours as they wanted to work, they could work. But about half of them didn't want to come back to work,
Right.
which is totally cool. I understand that.
Yeah.
The other half, we trained them how to bartend. We mostly trained them how to make Thunderhead's Thunderpunch.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
and we sold out of, we would normally go through about 800 growlers, glass containers, in about 8 months' time, about 100 a month. And we'd get, that day we went through, I don't know, 400. And the next day we went through another 400, and we were out. We went around and bought all the glass jars we could find. You know, Carney went to Menards and Walmart and got all the quart jars and brought them back and just started filling them with Thunderpunch. And we sold it as fast as we could make it. Luckily, it's basically just pop and whiskey. We make the pop for it.
Yeah.
And so we could make a batch of it in a day, unlike beer, where if that happened with beer, it'd take us 6-8 weeks to start catching up. With this, we could start catching up the next day. Started ordering glass. We started expediting it. Places that couldn't get us labeled growlers quick enough, we said, "Can you send us blank ones?" Yes. All right, send them tomorrow. We'll do it. Yeah. Then one order I did, they accidentally shipped it to the Omaha tap room, which I don't know the Omaha tap rooms, but they still have the name Thunderhead on them.
Okay.
So, I can understand why they might have done that, but I didn't notice it until the morning we needed them, and they came in that morning. Like, oh my gosh! So I have to make truck to go down. So that's how that was going. And to this day, we can still sell Thunderpunch as a mixed drink to go. But after seeing how much demand there was for it, we decided that we needed to figure out a way that it wouldn't be a mixed drink, where we weren't putting somebody else's branded stuff into our branded pop and making some kind of composite brand that would be legally messy to grow.
Right.
Or downright illegal if the governor changed his mind, or if we wanted to sell it to a third party. If another bar wanted to sell it, we wouldn't be able to sell it to them unless we had made it all ourselves. So I knew that there was a piece of equipment out on the market that was super expensive, but it would let us make a seltzer, and decided that it was probably time to pull the trigger on that. So, and that's supposed to arrive this week, so we'll see how that goes.
Sweet. So is that something you would have ever done if this wouldn't happen?
Maybe. You know, I'd always been in the back of my head. I wanted to do it, but I knew that piece of equipment existed for over a year now. And I contacted them to price it, and when I saw how much it was, I thought, we'll keep mixing it. It's right. So I probably wouldn't have. But then, about the same time, maybe even a month before or a month after, I'm not sure, right in there. It was right after, it was about a week after this thing had started. I got an email from the company, and they said, would you like to rent it for a week and just see how it works? I'm like, absolutely. So I got signed up to rent it, and it took them like a month or so to send it to me. And we got it for 5 days, and we'd scaled up so that, you know, on day one, we had that machine running 24 hours a day. We ran it for, I planned on running it for 3 straight days, and then I'd have 2 days of buffer for anything that was going on, because I didn't know any of it was going to work.
Sure.
And it ran really smooth. It was slick. It worked way better than I thought it would. It was our first attempt at making a seltzer, so I mean, it wasn't exactly like I wanted, but it was a hell of a lot closer than I envisioned that it was going to be.
Right.
And I thought if we could sell all of that, we made 3,000 gallons of it. So I figured if we could sell all of it in 5 or 6 weeks, then it'd be a success. It ended up being about 30,000 cans, canned it, and we sold it to our tap rooms in Omaha and here. And then a bunch of retailers wanted to pick it up, so we sent it to them, and we had all of it spoken for or out of the building within 10 days. Like, okay, we're gonna do this.
Right.